All right, welcome to another edition of Instigator Mick. I'm your host, Mickey Jordan, aka Instigator Mick. We bring you a Week 4 preview of the NFL and a Week 5 preview of college football. But the main topic, we'll be talking about Virginia Tech Pitt, but we'll get into that later. It's another call-in show. Last week's show was just, amazing. Hopefully this is a better show than last week. Hopefully too, which would be great. But all right, let's get into last week's NFL picks that I won. I won the whole week in the MSP. Probably the best out of everyone. Also the best out of the Jordans as well. But I finished with a plus 11, winning my pick of the week as well. So that's pretty impressive. Winning. I've been doing this for 3 years, but this is my first time ever winning a week in this pool. It's pretty impressive. Last week, what's going on, Q? Enjoying the show so far? Thing is, I lost a few games like in the picks. One of them was a Packers game. The Packers, they won, but they didn't cover the spread. They didn't cover they should have won by 2 points or more, in my opinion. Packers should not have won by a point. They should have won by more than that. So that was one of them. The Bills were my pick of the week. I won that pretty easily. And the Bills kicked the shit out of the Redskins. So I had pretty much a lot of them right. I can't play one a week. So I'll give you all my tips on this week's picks. So let's get into the Week 4 now. And of course, let's see. First game is tomorrow, the Thursday night game in Lambeau. The Detroit Lions at the Green Bay Packers. The Detroit Lions are favored, actually, in Green Bay. Who I got winning this one? Of course, I'm going to go with the Detroit Lions. Fuck the Packers. They suck. They got lucky last week. They're going to lose the Lions. They're going to get their ass totally kicked, at least by 2 touchdowns or more. I'm telling you, Dan Campbell's be biting kneecaps like usual. Dan Campbell, I'm telling you, he's leading this team well. The Packers suck. Go Lions. I'm picking them. They're going to cover the 1.5 point spread. Hello?
Oh, I got a bone to pick with you, buddy.
Oh, hell yeah, because I was talking about the Lions.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying over there. The Lions are going to catch the win this week?
I think so.
No way. First off, don't ever disrespect my team like that, or we're going to have some issues.
Well, I'm actually going to Timmy's tomorrow in my Lions shirt.
Oh, you better not.
Oh, I'm gonna.
I'll burn that t-shirt.
That's why they call me Instigator Mick.
Go Pack, go, baby.
Go Lions.
Don't ever disrespect the Pack attack.
We'll see how it goes tomorrow. It should be a good one.
All right, I'm looking forward to it.
Thanks for popping in.
Thanks for having me on your show.
Oh, of course. Anytime, Q.
See ya.
That was a Packers fan. There's my brother Q. Hell yeah. I gotta get Timmy on the show one of these times. I gotta. All right, so we can talk about the Thursday night game. Let's go on to the London game, the 9:30 a.m. game on Sunday. It's an AM game out in London on ESPN Plus. It is the Atlanta Falcons at the Jacksonville Jaguars. This one I kind of had trouble picking because the Jaguars just lost to the Texans pretty bad. And the Falcons, they got their first loss. They lost the Lions, but I knew that was coming. The Falcons had a nice little run, but I think reality's going to come into play. Like, they're going to lose the Jaguars. It was a tough one, but it's like, you know what? Jaguars, they always win in London. They always do well. It's like their second home field. So I got to go with the Jaguars. They'll cover the 2.5 points spread. They'll win by a field goal. I think they'll cover the spread. All right, next one. You got the Cincinnati Bengals at the Tennessee Titans, and the Bengals are the favorites. Are favored by 1.5 points in Tennessee, which is kind of surprisingly. Who do I like in this one? Tennessee, I would say them, but they look like dog shit lately. They kind of got lucky and beat the Chargers in overtime. It was a good game, but last week, they look terrible. I don't know what to say about them. Thing is, they played a good defense in the Browns, but still, it doesn't matter. The Titans are not that good. So, and the Bengals suck too. They just kind of, it was an ugly win against the Rams on Monday night. But I'd say the Bengals cover. They'll win by 2 points or more. They'll cover the spread in Tennessee. They always do well in Nashville, especially that playoff game a couple of seasons ago. So I like the Bengals one. This next one, this is a big matchup. This is a game I'm really hyped about. The Buffalo Bills hosting the Miami Dolphins in Buffalo. Big rivalry game. Dolphins, of course, scored 70 points in their win over the Denver Broncos. The Bills dominated that win over Washington. And the spread is 2.5, favored by the Bills. They're the favorites. I'm surprised. But of course, I'm going to go with my Bills. Thing is, Dolphins, the reason why I put 70 points because they played the Broncos. They played one of the worst teams in the NFL. Thing is, they're finally facing a good defense this week. I'd say it's not going to be a blowout. It's going to be a close game. I feel like these are two of the best teams in the division. I feel like this is going to be an important game. I feel like these are two teams that are going to battle out for the AFC East. So I got the Bills, of course, in this one. Give me them. Please squish the fish. Fuck Miami. Next, we got the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Houston Texans, and the Steelers are the favorites, obviously, but the Texans did get a big win off the Jaguars in a division win. Steelers, they won 2 in a row. They won in prime time. 2 straight prime time games, both their wins. After dropping the first game, they won 2 straight. I think they got together after beating the Raiders. So I think they'll cover the spread. They'll cover the 2.5 point spread, and they'll beat the Texans. Texans got the momentum, but I feel like Steelers are too much. Especially that defense. TJ Watt is just an animal. He's just that man's a beast. Give me the Steelers in this one. Next, we got the Washington Commanders at the Philadelphia Eagles. Commanders, obviously, you saw what happened last. A lot of people saw what happened last night. The Bills just smoked them, especially the Bills' defense, the way they played. The Bills look great against Washington, but Eagles, they dominated the Buccaneers. Who do I like in this one? Obviously, the spread is 6.5, favored by the Eagles, and it's in Philadelphia. So I like the Eagles. The Eagles are going to cover. They'll win by 6.5. They'll win by at least a touchdown or more. So we'll cover that spread. Give me Philadelphia in this one pretty easily. Now Washington's starting to face some good teams. The reason why they got those 2 wins is they're up against scrub opponents. So now they finally face some good teams. They lost the Bills last week. They're going to get creamed by the Eagles. So I like that one. Next, you got the LA Rams at the Indianapolis Colts. The Rams are the favorites, actually, in Indianapolis, surprisingly. Anthony Richardson's supposed to be back. We'll see how he feels after, following concussion protocol and all that. This one is in Indianapolis. I'd say the Rams don't cover, and I think the Colts win it. I picked the Colts this week. This is kind of a slight, not really an upset, kind of because they're both like same level, I'd say, this year. But I like the Colts in this one. I don't know what I do. I like Anthony Richardson. I like this offense, especially Michael Pittman at receiver. So give me Indianapolis in this one. Oh, this one's a tough one for me to pick in this one. You got the 2 worst teams in the NFL right now. The Chicago Bears hosting the Denver Broncos. This is in Chicago. Who do I like in this one? They both have yet to win a game this year. Russell Wilson is not the same. Russell Wilson's okay, but still, this ain't the same Russell Wilson we've seen in Seattle. And the Justin Fields is just terrible. I thought he was going to be good this year. They are just overrated, and obviously Bears are worse than ever. Who do I like in this one? It's a tough one because the spread is the Denver is favored on the road in Chicago. They're favored by 3.5. I'd say the Broncos don't cover. I think the Bears win it, which is kind of a shocker. I don't know why. I like the Bears in this one, in this toilet bowl. All right, next we got the Baltimore Ravens at the Cleveland Browns, and the Browns are favored by 2.5. I'd say the Browns. Who do I like in this one? It's tough because Cleveland's looking good. So is Baltimore. These are probably the 2 best teams in the division, other than Pittsburgh's in there. That division's really probably one of the best, other than the AFC East, I thought. I think AFC North's pretty good, too. That division is. I'm going to say Cleveland doesn't cover. It's in Cleveland, but I like the Ravens for some reason. This Ravens team this year. The Ravens may have had a tough loss to the Colts. Of course, they lost to the Colts last week in overtime. I had a feeling the Ravens weren't going to cover. I did not expect them to lose. Kind of expected at the same time, I did not expect them to lose. I expected at least be a close game. But the Ravens lost that one. So I think they'll be up for revenge. They know it's a big division game. So give me the Ravens winning on the road in Cleveland. Next, we got a battle of another winless teams. We got the Minnesota Vikings at the Carolina Panthers. Both 0-3. Who is going to get their first win? The Vikings are favored by 3.5 on the road in Carolina. I'd say Minnesota. I like the Vikings. Justin Jefferson goes off. They get their first win, and the Panthers remain winless. So I think the Vikings win this one, get their first win. That's another toilet bowl. Next, you got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the New Orleans Saints. The Saints are favored by 3.5. Of course, this is going to be tough this week without Derek Carr. Most likely going to be out. But the good thing is Alvin Kamara is back for the Saints, coming off his 3-game suspension. So who do I like? This one's a tough one because the Bucs came off a tough loss to the Eagles Monday night. I'd say the Saints. It's in New Orleans. Saints cover the 2.5 point spread. They'll win. I got the Saints this one. They're going to respond. after blowing a 17-point lead to the Packers. Saints absolutely just choked in Green Bay. I mean, it's all like the Saints. They're going to respond after that loss last week. They'll beat the Bucs. Now let's move on to the 4 o'clock games. You got the Las Vegas Raiders at the LA Chargers. The spread is 5.5, favored by the LA Chargers. I'd say this one's closer than that spread. I think this will be closer than expected. I take the Raiders. I'll pick against the spread. I think the Raiders. I pick the Raiders this one, not to win, but I think not for the Chargers not to cover the spread. I take the points in this one. Give me the Raiders, but Chargers barely win. They're not going to cover the 5.5 point spread. I feel like with this Raiders team, it's gonna be an iffy game between those two. Next, you got America's Game of the Week on Fox. The New England Patriots at the Dallas Cowboys. This is probably a battle of the so-called America's team, probably, because, the New England Patriots with a dynasty and all that. The Dallas Cowboys, so-called America's team, definitely. But the spread is 6.5, favored by the Cowboys. Patriots got their first win of the season last week, beating the Jets. Cowboys just had a bad loss to the Cardinals. I thought they would never win a game at all. The Cardinals. I thought they were going to go win this. Nope. Cardinals surprised the nation, beating the Cowboys last week. I'd say the Cowboys take care of business. They cover the 6.5 point spread. They're favored at home. They'll win. They're gonna respond well after that loss to the Cardinals. So I think they'll make things pretty easily against New England. They'll easily blow them out. There we go. The next 4 o'clock game, the Arizona Cardinals at the San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers are favored by 13.5. Last week I picked against a big spread in the Cardinals game. I lost that one. Do I do this? What do I do? Do I do the same thing as last week? Do I pick the heavy favorites? This time I'd say yes. It's the 49ers, for God's sakes. The 49ers are so good. They're like one of the best teams in the league. They're going to cover the 13.5 point spread. They're going to just whoop up on the Cardinals. And it's insane for it anyway. Now we move on to the Sunday night game. The Kansas City Chiefs at the New York Jets. The spread is favored by the Chiefs on the road. It's 9.5 point favorites. I took the Chiefs in this one, and this is also my pick of the week. The Chiefs are my pick of the week. I think that's what I think is my pick of the week. The Kansas City Chiefs. I like them in this one. I had Daisy pick this one for me. I like the Chiefs. They'll cover easily. The Jets shows they're nothing without Rodgers. All they're going to have to rely on is, the thing is, Zach Wilson against Patrick Mahomes. This is such a mismatch. I'm glad this is my pick of the week. That's my Sunday night. That's the Sunday night game. That's my pick of the week. Now, last but not least, the Monday night game between the Seattle Seahawks and the New York Giants. This is also MetLife. This is also like the Meadowlands area. The spread is 1.5, favored by the Giants, which I think is kind of a shock. It's at home, I get it, but still, Seattle's good. I think I'm going to take the points. Seattle wins this one. Seahawks, I mean, the Giants are still banged up. They are still banged up with injuries. Giants done again last week, played the 49ers, but we'll see how Saquon's status is. But I like the Seahawks this one. They're looking better, but it was a kind of an ugly win for the Seahawks, but not really. They started pulling away, but for a while, the Panthers kept it close. But I like the Seahawks. Those are my picks for MSP this week. Let's hope I can go 2 weeks in a row winning the pool. That's the games I'm looking for the most. I'd say it's the Lions, Packers tomorrow, the Bills, Dolphins, and obviously the Chiefs, Jets, because my pick of the week. Let's move on to college football. Let's move on here to the picks of this week. Last week, Max Garvin got these picks late and still got his ass kicked by me. He still can't beat me. I'm untouchable this college football season. I have a better IQ than Max. Let's hope he gets his picks in this week. LOL, I'm just kidding, Max. Just bust your chops, Just bust your chops. No hard feelings, Let's see if he can finally beat me. You've yet to beat me in these picks this year. You really, if you're watching this right now, I'd take your fucking notes. Really pay attention to these games this week. But all right, enough of all that. Let's move on here. Like, the first game of this week is a 9:00 start time Friday night game. It's on FS1. It's Utah at Oregon State. This is a really good Pac-12 matchup. Both teams were ranked. Oregon State came up with a tough loss to Washington State. Utah won in a low-scoring defensive game with UCLA, surprisingly. I thought it was going to be a high-scoring game, but it was an ugly game, but Utah won. Usually I'd take Utah on this one, but this is in Oregon State. I'd say no. I'd say Oregon State for the slight upset. I got Oregon State winning this one over Utah. So I got to take them this one for some reason, because I've been taking Utah a lot. I feel like they got lucky against UCLA, so I got to take Oregon State. Got me the Beavers in this one. Now let's move on to Saturday games. Starting at noon with USC at Colorado. Coach Prime coming off his first loss as the Colorado head coach. Now this Colorado team, Ace absolutely got destroyed. I knew Oregon was going to win that game. It's going to be a lot tougher than this one, I feel like. USC, of course, they got reigning Heisman quarterback in Caleb Williams. And this is even though it's in Colorado, but I like USC. I like the Trojans. I'm picking against Colorado once again. I was kind of on the Deion bandwagon, but I really think USC is still good. This is a really good USC team. Give me the Trojans. Colorado's going to get creamed again, just like last week. Yeah. Next, you got Penn State at Northwestern. This is at another noon game. This is on the Big Ten Network. Who do I like in this one? Obviously, Penn State. Northwestern is still garbage. And they're also having coach. Obviously, I told you, like in my first show, they had issue with coaching, like in the offseason and all that. So I like Penn State pretty easily. Penn State looked like a legit playoff contender. They shut out Iowa. I thought maybe I would have gave it close, but nope. Penn State looked dominant. They look like the national championship team like I predicted. And they're going to keep it that way this weekend against Northwestern. They're going to easily dominate Northwestern. So give me the Nittany Lions in that one. Next, Texas A&M at Arkansas. This is a neutral site game, actually. It's at the Cowboy Stadium. An AT&T Stadium. Oh, yeah. It's always a traditional game between those two. This is kind of a tough one because Texas A&M is always overrated. Last time I picked a Texas A&M game, I picked against them, and Miami won pretty easy. So I'm known for picking against Texas A&M. Who I like? I like Arkansas. Pig Suey. I got Arkansas on this one. The Hogs are going to win this one. I like them beating A&M. Texas A&M overrated as usual. They're going to lose to Arkansas this time. Take that, Jimbo Fisher. Last of the noon games. This is always one of the games I've always looked forward to as well, other than Pitt, Virginia Tech. It's Clemson at Syracuse. I remember the first time I saw this matchup. It was almost 8 years ago. My very first college game. I remember when my family, met him out there at Syracuse. It was, of course, Clemson was number one at the time. This was the Sean Watson days. I remember that. That was my first college game. Then me and Quinn just always enjoyed watching that one. Always every year, Clemson, Syracuse. It's kind of a rivalry. It feels like it always is. Syracuse always keeps it close to them. It's 2016. Of course, Clemson won that game in 2015 when we were there. 2016, it was a blowout, and I remember Clemson blowing them out, put up 50 points in that one. 2017 though was the last time Syracuse actually beat Clemson. I remember that one well. That was in the Dome. And then 2018 it was a close one too. It was another close game, but Clemson survived. 2019, it was a blowout. Clemson won that one. So mostly Clemson owned this rivalry pretty much. But this year, I'd say no. Syracuse is gonna beat Clemson. Clemson's already out of the playoff mix. They're one of us to be shocked after losing to Florida State. I think Clemson's not that good. Syracuse, they got much better offense, obviously way better. Garrett Schrader, I got the Cuse in this one. Give me the orange over Clemson. Now let's move on to the 3:30 games. You got Georgia at Auburn, the number one team in the nation, Georgia right now. When's the last time they lost a game was the SEC championship game in the 2021 season. That's the last time Georgia has lost a football game. Two-time defending champs, this Georgia team, 20-game winning streak or more. They're just one of the most dominant teams in college. They head into Auburn. It's always a tough environment playing in Auburn, but I still think Georgia wins. They're going to keep their longest active winning streak going. They'll beat Auburn. Maybe close, but who knows? But I think I like Georgia's one. Next, you got Michigan at Nebraska. Michigan did. I figured they were going to blow out Rutgers, but first Rutgers thought, oh shit, after the opening drive, Rutgers scored a touchdown against them last week. It's like, okay, maybe this might be close. And Michigan just roared, scoring 31 unanswered to beat Rutgers pretty easy. But this is a road test. This is a tough road test. This is their first road test of the year for Michigan. And Nebraska's always is kind of a tough place to play. Nebraska's bad, but don't count Matt Rule, like I said before. Saying this, the Nebraska team can be competitive. They got the record for most consecutive sellouts that stadium usually does. But just don't count Nebraska, but I still think Michigan wins, but it's going to be a close one. I think Nebraska keeps it close, but Michigan wins this one. This is a really good one, this next one. 3:30 game here. Surprisingly, they're both actually ranked. Well, Texas, I knew we were ranked, but Kansas, surprised. This has been one of the Cinderella stories since last season. Kansas and Texas, they're both ranked. Both undefeated, too. Really, it's a crucial Big 12 matchup here. I would love to jump on the Kansas bandwagon, but Texas is one of my playoff teams I picked. I got to go with Texas. They got to win this one. Last time these two met in Texas, Kansas pulled off the big upset a couple seasons ago. Look at me, the Longhorns. They'll win this one. They'll give Kansas their first loss of the season. Man, I'm surprised I haven't got any calls in, but hey, Colin's the only one so far. It was great. It's been a good show, though. I can't wait to get in the Pitt Virginia Tech one. That's the main thing we'll talk about eventually. But all right. Now the night game, starting with the 6 o'clock game. LSU at Ole Miss. LSU, they're looking better than they did in the first game. Ever since that loss in the first game of the season to Florida State, I was like, okay, the LSU's finally turning around. Ole Miss, I picked them last week. They had a tough loss to Alabama. I really thought they were going to pull it off. But Bama proved me wrong. They're still a playoff team. We'll see if they are still a playoff team. We don't know when Alabama will lose again. But back to this game, Ole Miss and LSU. Who am I taking? This is at Ole Miss. It's tough. I would pick LSU, but Ole Miss is going to respond. They're going to be pissed off after losing to Alabama. They'll win at home. They should be. I got Ole Miss over LSU. And now let's go to the 7:30 game, another SEC matchup. South Carolina at Tennessee. This is on the SEC Network, 7:30 on the SEC Network here. Who do I like in this one? Last year, South Carolina pulled the upset over Tennessee. That was a game Hendon Hooker went down with a torn ACL as well. So it's a lot different story. This is in Tennessee. I think Tennessee's going to get revenge after losing to South Carolina. This is at home, so I got to go with Tennessee. They should win this one. But if they lose this one, I would say this would be a disappointment if you're Tennessee. Being a playoff contender, being so close to making it last year. So I like the Vols in this one. Oh, this one's really good one. This is where college game day is coming out for the first time ever. It's Notre Dame at Duke. I know like the college game day has been there for Duke basketball. This is the first time this came to Duke campus for a football game. College game day has been there for. Notre Dame come off a tough loss to Ohio State last week at home. This time it's a road test at Duke. Duke is playing probably one of the best teams in the ACC right now other than Florida State. Keep an eye on this Duke team. I'm telling you, they might be possibly another like a dark horse playoff contender, I'd say right now, the way Duke's playing. I feel like they can beat Carolina even. Sounds crazy. Like, why pick against Drake May? Like, Carolina looks better than them. They're just one of the most well-balanced offenses. I'm going to go with the upset. I'm going to go with Duke over Notre Dame. I really think they could do it. I remember I said that Duke was going to upset Clemson, and I called it then. I'm going to call this one. Duke is going to upset Notre Dame this weekend. And it's at Duke. Give me the Blue Devils. This is the game's on Saturday Night Football on ABC, so I like the Blue Devils. Boy, last but not certainly least, the main event game of the week. Pitt at Virginia Tech. This has always been the rivalry game. This has been me and Max's rivalry. Been going on for 8 years. 8 long years, almost a decade, man. It all started it was a normal Saturday, 2015 it was. Pitt, Virginia, like the first time me and Max started this rivalry, Pitt, Virginia Tech. We were watching it. Man, he was just being a douchebag about this one when Virginia Tech won that one. He was just being a douche. Oh, this one. Pitt won that one 17-13. But this was started I was like, all right, you know what? That's it. This became a thing, So seriously, I really think that's what it all started in 2016. I mean, of course, this like the first 2 times Pitt played Virginia Tech during our rivalry span, like 15 and 16. This is the time I couldn't stand Max. I remember I was like, God, God, I can't stand this guy. I hate this guy. I couldn't stand him back then. And Virginia Tech won that game, like the 2016, 2017. This then 2017. I think this when he started to grow on me a little bit. That was 2017 was my favorite Virginia Tech Pitt game of all time. The goal line stand for Virginia Tech won that one. That was one of my favorite all time in this rivalry. 2018, that was the first time I attended a Virginia Tech Pitt game. I remember I was with my dad. I was with Quinn for that one. It was freezing cold. It was like below 30. It felt like teens that day. Of course, Tech got their ass kicked in that one, 52-22. 2019 was the last time Virginia Tech beat Pitt. It was a shutout too, 20-0. That fell on Quinn's birthday that year. That was the last time he beat Pitt, 2019. That was one of my favorites too. And the last 3 times, 2020, there was COVID year. That was the same day Virginia Tech played Pitt in 2020. That was the year I had a seizure, I remember. The same day. Of course, Max still showed up. We watched the game. Pitt won that one, unfortunately. Same as the year after when of course, Max came, 2021, the last time he played him in Blacksburg. The last time he played him in Blacksburg, though, was the time, though, we Like, what was the time? Like, I don't know. Kenny Pickett's last season, we got beaten that one. Max came back for his first break. Last time he played Pitt was last season in Pittsburgh. I was at that game with, my mom. I had Max go with us too. Pitt won that one, but now let's move on to this year. Let's move on to this one. This is under the lights in Blacksburg. Enter Salmon. Oh, here we go. Here we go. This is a big one this week for me. This is definitely a big one. Oh man, I can't think about it. Of course, both these teams are 1-3. This is a toilet bowl version of it, but still, it's still hype. It's still Virginia Tech Pitt. I'm still hyped about it. So who do I like in this one? Virginia Tech came up with a tough loss to Marshall. They lost 3 in a row. Same as Pitt. They lost 3 in a row. Give me the Hokies, goddammit. Eat shit, Pitt. Give me the Hokies in this one. There's no way in hell I'll pick Pitt. No way in hell. As long as I live. The Hokies are going to get it done. They're going to get off their losing streak. And they're going to shut Max up for good. All the bragging rights. This is my year, not Max's. I'm telling you one thing. Max Garvin can kiss my ass after Virginia Tech beats Pitt. Tech's going to drop 50 in this one. This is a long win. I'm telling you, the Hokies are winning this one. Eat shit, Pitt. I'm telling you one thing. Max better be watching this. His Pitt is going down. Hokies are going to take care of business in this one. And I'm going to beat Max another week of football picks, Keep dominating as usual. Hello? What's up, Q?
Hey, this is Grant Wells, quarterback of Virginia Tech.
Oh, boy.
And I was just calling to let you know that Max Garvin paid me $20K to throw this team this week against Pitt.
Oh, my goodness. Grant Wells, really? You really let that douchebag pay you?
Yes.
How dare you? You should be cut.
Hokies.
Grant Wells.
We are the Jokey Hokies.
Oh, yeah, we'll see about that. Grant Wells, you should not be playing. Then we should put Kyron Drones ahead of you still.
I just want to call and warn you before you're disappointed.
Yeah, we'll see about that, Grant. Wow. Max really paid Grant Wells? Are you kidding me? Well, this is no wonder why you're not starting. Despite your pussy ankle injury. Man, I'll tell you one thing. Pitt is going down. It doesn't matter who's your starting quarterback. It doesn't matter. Max. Let's see if Max is going to cheat to win. Okay, we'll see what happens. Thank y'all for tuning in. We'll see you next week. Hopefully I come back next week with a Virginia Tech win over Pitt. See y'all next week. Thanks for tuning in.